100th day of school, I gave my first speech ever. To my kindergarten class, I presented 100 candy hearts, and I think I whispered the entire thing. A lot has changed since then. I'm about 2 feet taller, I am a lot louder, and I have all the opinions to back it up. The most important thing that has changed, however, is the fact that I have taken my first public speaking course. This short 5-week course has given me a lot to learn. I learned how to make a structured outline for a speech. I learned how to constructively criticize and receive constructive criticism on everything I've submitted. And I have also learned how to effectively give a persuasive and informative speech. And through these objectives, I think that I have earned a 90% due to my understanding of the materials and my application of it in every single research project, discussion post, and speech I have given. Explicitly using the Aristotelian truths, I was able to first establish ethos, and in this I have shown that I have mastered every single rhetorical theme and the source material learned. Next, I will show how I employ logos, having sound arguments based in inductive and deductive reasoning. Finally, I will show how I use pathos in every single one of my words, showing that my chosen language and tone has allowed me to build a connection with my audience. First, I will show my ethos, which is my credibility, according to George Mason University's Anastasia Pavlova. First, I learned about the chapters that were presented. The first chapter showed us Sparlin's transactional model of communication. This showed us that communication was not linear, but was constantly moving and was constantly going back and forth between audience and speaker. Next, Chapter 5 showed me audience analysis. This was rooted in our syllabus, which talked about our civility policy. Using this, it guided my speeches. Every single one of my speeches was respectful of every single audience, and I kept that in mind in both my discussion posts and my speeches. And then in Chapter 9, it showed me the introduction framework. So my introductions could be capturing of the audience and immediately prove my credibility to them. Then in Chapter 7, it showed me how to make citations and how to say them within my posts. And in employing outside scholars, I was able to prove my credibility to my audience. But what is my credibility without persuasion tied to it? Using logos, I was able to use inductive and deductive reasoning to persuade my audience to my points and the things that I had informed them of. Explicitly for this assignment, I was asked what grade I should receive in this class. I said I should deserve a 90. And this is based in the inductive reasoning that I think that I have shown growth throughout every single one of my assignments, which is one of the goals of this class. Using deductive reasoning, I would be able to show that if I aced this assignment, my grade would be around a 90, and that is an A in this course. However, in my speeches, I have shown persuasion constantly. My speeches were based on the guidelines shown in Chapter 8 on how to write these and how to make them the most persuasive possible through the outline given. Then, in Chapter 12, they explain extemporaneous communication, in which I would read from a note card rather than a speech, showing that I am able to actively engage with my audience, making my speech more persuasive. And then Chapter 16 explicitly showed me how to make a persuasive speech, which was rooted in problems, causes, and solutions. Then, finally, I would like to show how I have shown pathos throughout each and every one of my speeches. All of my speeches are based in emotional connection. When I first learned in this course that I could connect my first introduction words to a personal story of mine or to another, I immediately jumped on the opportunity, as none of my essays were able to have this option. I think I employed this well in my persuasive essay, and I think my personal experience linked to the farmers market was able to actively communicate why this was so important for the Orange County community. Chapter 4 also talked about how criticisms and evaluation can change our speeches. Through the criticisms that I received, I was able to then change my speech to better suit my audience. And also, I was able to, using our civility policy, communicate to my classmates how they can better change their speeches. So, if you were to ask me what grade I think I deserve in this class, it would be a 90. And I have proved this, showing that I have used ethos throughout every single one of my speeches, mastering my understanding of the course, how I've employed logos in all of my sound arguments, and I have shown pathos in all of my arguments as well, using convincing and emotionally complex language. Thank you.